Child Impact International is an organization that gives hope and fosters permanent, positive change in the lives of disadvantaged children and their communities. Countries include Zambia, Kenya, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. Child Impact's investment in the lives of more than 3,500 children continues to yield infinite returns. Outreach spans from child rescue operations to providing an education and a home for deaf and blind children and orphans. Above all, Child Impact's sponsors give hope to the ones who need it the most.
Welcome to Hope in Motion. My name is Andre Evans. I'm a teen ambassador for Child Impact International. This coming school year, I will be a senior at Collegedale Academy in Tennessee. I'm excited about recently being elected as the Student Association Pastor. As I reflect on my education journey, I've had many opportunities. I've had parents who take me to school, support my extracurricular activities, and help me with homework and pay my tuition fees. Unfortunately, this is not the case for many children around the world. Sponsorship can make all the difference. Most of our episodes focus on the work that Child Impact International is doing right now, but we have been operating for many decades, and in that time, hundreds of children have grown into happy, successful adults. In this episode, we want to highlight two of these success stories, Jezidus and Anand. Jezidus was one of the first orphans at Sunrise Children's Home about 20 years ago.
Yeah, still I could remember that day along with my granny have come. I just came with one shirt and one short, and I don't have any slippers also. I just have came. We used to stay in Bobli. So yeah, I remember that I saw a lot of children playing over here. I was very happy to see those faces, happy faces.
Still I can remember when Jezda joined in Sunrise. At that time we have only 3 children. So when his grandmother brought him here, he was very shy, and when I saw him, I thought that he was very brilliant.
I still used to remember when we have started Sunrise Home. I was one of the first batch of child in the Sunrise Home. We used to have a single room where we all used to sleep together, worship together, eat together. It was very happy moments for me.
The loving environment that Lalitha and Raj Varma create at Sunrise helped Jezidus to feel like he was home and that they were his mom and dad.
They were very loving, they are very much caring and all. It's like we felt like they were our own parents. So like whenever in school they used to ask what your mom and dad used to do, we never thought that we don't have parents. We used to say my mommy is director of home, my daddy is project manager and all, because we felt like very own parents, and that ownness have come in this Sunrise Home. And I never felt that I'm very much lonely because I have a lot of brothers and sisters.
The love of the Varmas and the support of the sponsors has helped Jezidus to grow into the person that God wanted him to be.
And currently working as public health professional. I'm looking after right projects across India. I'm very happy to be part of telemedicine department.
Jezidus is an amazing example of what sponsorship can do. His immediate needs were provided with food, shelter, and love, but also his future needs were supplied through education. This sacrifice of Jezidus' sponsor and the Varmas shaped his life into one of service. Anand is another story of success. He was born in a small village like many other Indian boys. When he was 3 years old, he contracted polio and has been unable to walk ever since. What happened as a result of this changed his family forever.
Once I got contracted with polio, I was taken to most of the hospitals nearby, and my father did all his best to make me normal walking as like other normal people. But unfortunately, after all his trials and all his weather, he totally got disappointed, and he really wanted to get rid of me, and that's why he fueled myself while I was sitting in front of my meal. And then he fueled me, and then he literally let me here. So this is the sign that I left with me as my father's symbol that when he tried. So he tried to kill me, in fact, in one short way. So When he lit the fire, my mother immediately came in, and she dropped me up, and then she somehow saved me. Luckily, by God's grace, that was the time when I was saved by God's grace. After a few days, both my father and mother was more disappointed, especially my father, and then he got into bad habits as well, drinking especially. So my mother, looking at all these conditions, she decided to stop all this and say, this is a natural disaster and this child is God's gift. And then while in that process, while trying to convince my father, she happened to take the rat's poison, just to pretend that she is unconscious, or something happened to her, so that my father, looking at her condition, would realize that this is not the way how he should be. And this rat poison turned to be very poisonous, and then it took her life. So on that note, once it happened, my father, looking at my mother, he was more disappointed, and he felt that the only hope that I have on this earth is the wife, and she is also passed, and there's no meaning for me to live it. And immediately he went and made suicide for himself as well. So on the very day, both my father and mother expired.
It is hard to imagine losing both your father and mother on the same day. That is a tragedy few of us have ever had to experience. But for Anand, he had to face this harsh reality at the tender age of 5 years old. Thankfully, God was looking out for him.
And then my aunt came, and she took all of us to her home. And while she also had two children with her, our own children, and it's difficult for her to run a family with 5 children, which were actually lesser than 4 years. So this made her to find an orphanages where she can put us into the orphanage. And in that search, she found an orphanage which is close by, and then she tried to keep all 3 of us into one orphanage. But unfortunately, the orphanage head said, we cannot take this child, myself, because I'm a specially challenged person, and while the rest of the children were all normal, we cannot take this person. So not to miss that opportunity, my aunt kept 2 of my siblings in the orphanage, and after that she was in search of me keeping into another school where they can adopt for a special needs for a disabled person. And then my aunt used to attend the local church, Seventh-day Adventist church, and the pastor advised that I can be joined in an Adventist school. I came to Elim home when I was 5 years old. When I first entered the home with Miss Betty Bai, I was really taken up by all the brothers and sisters. Despite of my disability, all the children that are there during that time, they really encouraged me, and the Betty Mummy told, this is a special boy which needs all of your support. And from then onwards, all my brothers and sisters at Elim home, they all treated me like a brother, and I never felt that I'm a disabled person while I was in Elim Adventist home.
The love and support that Anand received from those at Elim home gave him the courage to pursue higher education.
I had my elementary education right here itself in Elim Adventist home, Elim school. And then later, after I finished my 7th grade, I moved to boarding school in Nasapur, where I studied for a year. And then I went on to Newswich School, Adventist school, boarding school, where all the Elim children were joined there after our elementary education in Elim home. And then I was there till 12th grade. And then after 12th grade, it is when we get into the degree, I wrote a government exams and got a seat in the private institutions outside nearby town. And then I did my pharmacy, degree in pharmacy. And then once I finished my degree in pharmacy in 2005, I'm passionate about doing studies till masters. And then I requested my sponsors to support me for my masters as well. And then with the help of my sponsors, I did my masters in pharmacy as well in the nearby, into another city just near to that. And I finished my masters in pharmacy in 2012.
Anand's journey is a truly inspiring one. From contracting polio when he was only 3 years old to losing his parents at 5 are events that would cause most people to naturally fall into deep despair. But by God's grace, Anand was pulled from the ashes of sorrow to the joy of God's healing love. Both Jesidus and Anand accredit the success of their lives to the power of Christian sponsorship.
So Sunrise Home and Child Impact International is like a kind of family to me. So because without these two organizations, I could not imagine myself. And sometimes I used to think, even if I have parents, I would not brought up to this stage. I'm very much happy, and I would like to thank all the sponsors, donors, and the workers who are working with Child Impact International towards the children and the community who are in the darkness. They're bringing people, children from the darkness to light.
Till today, even if I had any problem, my sponsor will never say that you cannot do it. She encourages me a lot, stating that Anand, you have done a lot of things that the normal person cannot do. You have achieved it. You are no lesser than any other people. So continue the good zeal, continue the good work that you're doing, and God is there on your side. Once God is there, you can do impossible things possible. So that is the support that I got from my sponsor, and I want to thank my sponsor for all the support, the sacrifices that they have done. That I want to thank my sponsor for the sacrifice that he have done in my life. Despite of my physical disability, you have never let me down. You have never seen me down, or you have never let me go down. So this, just because of this love, the sacrifice that you have given me, and the support that you have given me at all times. Had I not received all of this, I would not have been a successful person like this. Thank you so much.
Jesidus and Anand are just two of hundreds of lives that have been transformed thanks to sponsors like you. You may be half a world away, but your prayers and support are very near and dear to these precious little ones who are left hopeless and alone in the world, just like Jesidus and Anand were. Their stories are proof of how effective your sponsorship is because it supports the child in a holistic way. All their needs are met: physical, mental, emotional, and most importantly, spiritual. As the Bible says in Proverbs 22 verse 6, "Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it." The testimonies and lives of Jesidus and Anand show the truth of this passage. Thank you for your prayers and for providing the resources needed to train up these precious little ones. May God bless.
Hi, my name is Tom Evans, CEO of Child Impact International. This episode has been hosted by my son, Andre. Andre, how can our viewers make a difference like what we just saw here in this video?
I think the key is that both of these successful men were sponsored to attend school. It seems that sponsorship can make a world of difference.
You know, I like how they referred to the school leaders as if they were their parents and the other students as brothers and sisters. It really seems like the environment is conducive both to educational and emotional growth.
I found being surrounded by caring friends and teachers does help me be able to get the most out of my education.
We would like to invite you to consider sponsoring a young person in need through Child Impact International. You can do so by visiting our website, childimpact.org, and selecting sponsorship, or by calling 423-910-0667.
That is childimpact.org, or call 423-910-0667.
Thank you in advance for making a world of difference in the life of a child.